So we are live.
We're alive.
Absolutely. All right, so let's start with this.
Daylight come and we won't go home.
Work all night on a drink of rum.
Daylight come and we won't go home.
Stack banana till the morning come.
Daylight come and we won't go home.
Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana.
Daylight come and we won't go home.
We say, come, Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana.
Daylight come and we won't go home.
Lift
6 and 7 and 8 and bunch. Daylight come and we won't go home.
Wow. Harry,
That was nice.
Uh,
I would have dated his light skin.
yeah. You would have just for the light skin?
Me said it. No.
All in all, Quincy and the group worked for about 4 hours that night until nearly 2 a.m., recording all the necessary parts to complete the song's tightly woven chorus. Just before the chorus broke up, there was this spontaneous tribute to Harry Belafonte.
sounded like that.
Now we're working all night. Daylight come and we wanna go home. Stay here till we get daylight. Come and we wanna go home. Daylight come and we wanna go home. Daylight come and we wanna go home.
Yes, I do.
All right, banana. Daylight come and we wanna go home.
Eat the deadly black tarantula.
Daylight come and we wanna go home.
I said
Daylight come and we wanna go home.
again.
Daylight come and we wanna go home. Daylight come and we wanna go home.
I like to sing and drink the rum.
Daylight come and we wanna go home.
Sing and
Daylight come and we wanna go home. Daylight come and we wanna go home.
if you drink too much, I'll have to stay.
Daylight come and we wanna go home.
You're going to have to drink the ribbon home by me already.
Daylight come and we wanna go home. Daylight come and we wanna go home.
Wow. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul, for showing that, brother. That was amazing.
That is a vintage video. I mean, you saw many people in there. Some of them are even gone now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
A lot of them are gone, yeah. Hey, by
Yeah.
the way, Carl, I do a joke on stage about Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles being the same person because you never see them together. And you just show the video of both of them together.
Just proved you, right?
Yeah, no joke. You messed up my joke, man.
Ah. All right, so I'm gonna play our little theme song. We're gonna kick it off. We're gonna talk a bit about Harry Belafonte, and then I'm gonna show some videos. We're talking about environmental racism. Thanks to Tiffany last week, enlightened Kevin and I about a term I didn't know it existed. Environmental racism, and I looked it up, and there's a ton of stuff. It was amazing. Environmental racism. Um, so here we go, and we'll be right back.
With the knowledge you gain, break away from the chains. We helping you grow the Black Therapy Show. You be in a safe space, dealing with the black trauma. We unpacking and inspecting all our baggage and drama. Cause we gotta unite, no more killing each other. It's time to speak a new future for my sisters and brothers. You know it, Kevin, Carl, and Tiffany. You'll have an epiphany. We'll give you everything you need to handle the enemy. We be giving you everything, we gon' challenge you mentally. The right conversation so you grow exponentially. We built your penitentiaries, we built all your schools. Gave us brainwash education, just making us fools. Hatred was what we got in exchange for love. No more manipulation from my God up above.
What?
Kevin and Tiffany, now welcome to the Black Therapy Show. Let's go.
Make a video to that song.
Yes.
We're going to do a bit. Hey, next time we get together at one of the restaurants, we should do a video.
Absolutely.
Word. We could do a little video and put it up. Sure.
Absolutely. So we lost.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Harry Belafonte this week, and I showed a couple of videos with Harry, and seen from what I've learned about Harry, I guess he was like a big civil rights activist.
Yes.
And Tiffany and I were talking, and she said that he was very, I guess he can very, well, she said that Harry Belafonte refused certain roles while Sidney Poitier took a different role where he accepted any role because he felt like he can make more inroads the more roles he took. But Harry Belafonte took a different role where he's like, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing that. Okay, I'll do this, but I'm not doing that.
Artists have a choice. And a lot of people is acting like they don't have a choice. They do have a choice of what they portray and what they put out into the world, their carbon footprint into the world. So, you know, we salute Sidney Poitier also because he did things that he won the Academy Award, the first one, you know, one of the first Black men to win. So, I mean, he had to, that was his part. It wasn't Harry Belafonte's part. But yes, he was definitely he was an activism for Black people. He fought for our people, and he helped many speakers, Martin Luther King. He helped many people for our struggle for us. So we definitely salute him.
Yeah. But not to throw any shade on Mr. Belafonte, but Eartha Kitt, she wrote a book. You know, she dated Eartha Kitt, Catwoman, the original Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
She wrote a book. She dated Harry, and in the book, she said that he broke up with her and told her that he can't go far in his career being married to a Black woman.
I wouldn't be surprised about that either. Remember those times.
Yeah.
Remember those times.
Yeah.
You know, and his parents was from Jamaica. I believe he was born here, but his family was from Jamaica. So, and I think they were mixed. If I'm correct, I have to go. I think they were mixed, whatever the case may be. But remember those times. I wouldn't be surprised. Sidney Poitier was messing around with Irene. What's her name? Not Irene Cara. Diane Carroll. Did I say her name right?
Diane Carroll, yes.
Yes, they was in a relationship for years.
Switch.
They was in a relationship for years. So, but they was married. But yeah, so a lot of them couldn't live the life that they really wanted to live because they was trying to be at a status, especially in their work. Even his song, that song made 1 million records when they wasn't even selling 1 million records like that during that time. you know. So it reached 1 million records. So yeah, he made a mark. He definitely made a mark. What happened with Kev?
Yeah, I guess Kev's having a little technical difficulties.
Okay, he'll be back.
Yeah,
Yes.
he'll be back. Yeah. So we just want to give a quick tribute to Harry Belafonte. Also, we lost the favorite, I guess, well, not one of our favorites, but we lost Jerry Springer, the king of raunchy TV. You know, and some people will miss him, some people wouldn't miss him. But there was a segment of society that he catered to, and I was told in life you gotta find your niche in life and carve out your little niche in life, and that's where you're gonna thrive. So
He was definitely in the era. Again, this is fair use, educational purposes. This is our views, nobody else's views. Please don't come for us. Yes. Jerry was iconic because he actually started like that reality show type of on a talk show fight type of thing. You know, you can see a good fight with Jerry, you know, and he was different. He was different. He opened up doors. We saw things that we never saw before, but a lot of them was actors. A lot of it was drama. You know, a lot of it people went through, but you know, he made a mark too. Like they was all on the same line this week. A lot of people passed away this week. Carolyn Bryan passed.
Oh yeah, Carolyn Bryan, the white woman who accused Emmett Till of whistling at her, causing him to be lynched and murdered. She passed away, and a lot of people were happy. They were saying they were glad that she's gone.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah,
Ding dong, she's gone. She is the first original Karen. She is the queen of Karens. Okay, all the Karens in the world are crying right now over Carolyn Bryan. But let me tell you something. That young man's death sparked the civil rights movement. Okay, it sparked the civil rights movement because we got tired. What they did to him was horrific. And then a year later, you get paid to tell what you really did. You know, so she had to live with that for the rest of her life.
She got paid to tell the truth.
Yeah, they told the truth in this magazine. I think it's called Look magazine. A year later, you got to look it up, and they told everything that they did, and and why they did it because they couldn't be double jeopardy or something. You know, the double jeopardy thing.
You can't be, yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't come back to get them after that. You know, so yeah, they told everything what they did. This is how horrible you know, these people were, and that blends into our environmental racism. You know,
which is our main topic for today. Environmental racism. So I had no idea that was a thing, but apparently it is a thing. It just goes to show how deep. It's like people. I swear to God, Tiffany, it's like people sit in dark rooms at night and spend hours figuring out how to destroy Black people.
That's what it feels like.
It does feel like that. They sit and they strategize and they find different ways to try to destroy. You know what I mean? It's almost like they want to eliminate us from this earth.
Well, yeah, I believe that too. But what's worse, I think they don't do that. Is already embedded in them already from generations to generations to generations to generations to stop us at all costs. We are dangerous. They feel uncomfortable around us. They feel scared. You understand? It's already embedded in them because of what they do and how the things that they do to people and the history of what they have done to people.
Yeah. All right. So let me show a couple of videos. I have a ton of them, but I'll show a few.
Is known as environmental racism, and part of the reason you have seasonal allergies today.
Here are 3 uncomfortable truths regarding health disparities related to asthma in the United States. Number 1, Black Americans are 1.5 times more likely to have asthma compared to white Americans. Number 2, Black Americans are 5 times more likely to end up in the emergency room due to asthma compared to white Americans. And number 3, asthma deaths are 3 times more likely to happen in Black Americans compared to white Americans. There are numerous reasons why this may be the case, and the previous video touches on some of these points. Structural racism can have all sorts of long-lasting effects on someone's health, including the fact that chronic stress can lead to changes in how the immune system responds to allergens and skew it towards allergic inflammation, thus increasing the risk of developing allergies and asthma later in life. Living in older housing and having less access to healthcare exacerbates these health disparities. Remember how gas stoves have been linked to childhood asthma? Who do you think is going to be disproportionately affected by this issue?
Oh my God.
Anyway,
all suffer from exposure to pollution in this country, but some significantly more than others, thanks to what's called environmental racism. Studies have found that black Americans are exposed to 38% more polluted air and are 75% more likely to live in communities that border a plant or a factory. And crucially, the disparity in exposure persists even when controlling for income. One study found that on average, black Americans making $200,000 were exposed to more air pollution than white Americans making $25,000, proving that yet again, racism is one of the few things in this country more powerful than money. The fact is, though, black neighborhoods in particular can get targeted with incredible precision, and the stakes could not be higher here. Pollution is one of the driving factors behind conditions like heart disease, asthma, and even death, with black Americans nearly 3 times as likely to die from exposure to pollution. And vast disparities can even exist within the same city, as this environmental expert breaks down.
Right now, the zip code is the most important predictor of health and well-being. You tell me a zip code, I can tell you how healthy you are. All zip codes are not created equal.
Really?
Yes. You can find zip codes that are adjacent to each other and have a life expectancy disparity of 10, 15 years, depending on what's in that neighborhood and what's not in that neighborhood.
Wow, that is grim. You can live 15 fewer years depending on your zip code.
Yeah, the guy. Oh, you're back, Kev. Thanks.
All right, I got one more.
I apologize. I think it's internet connections here. We have a bad storm happening right now, so I don't know what's going on. But anyway, thank you. Glad to be back.
Okay.
Whoa. I gotta talk to y'all because this is important. Please watch.
So you may have heard that racism has been declared a public health crisis. But what exactly does that mean? Well, I'm here to answer your questions and teach you guys a little bit about it and what you can do to help. Public health is a very intersectional field and takes into account so many different social determinants of health. Some of those include housing, education, employment, healthcare, and criminal justice. Now, if you throw racism into the mix, a lot of things can get disrupted and outcomes can change. Structural racism and white supremacy shape where many of us live, and oftentimes we can't always see it. So let's talk about redlining. Redlining is a racist policy that dates back to the 1930s and still exists today. It's a form of invisible segregation, and it cuts off people of color from living in certain neighborhoods. This also impacts low-income families. This environmental racism and segregation vastly impacts our health. Oftentimes, Black and brown communities and low-income communities do not have the same access to health resources, fresh groceries, vegetables, and produce, and opportunities as our counterparts. Compared to predominantly white neighborhoods such as this one shown in our graphic that has a lot of parks, sidewalks to walk on, and accessibility to things like nutritious foods, transportation to jobs and school, and access to healthcare can vastly improve their healthcare outcomes. So,
all right. So, I mean, and that's still going on today, right? I mean, it's like, will these people ever stop? I mean, it's like, no. But then you hear people say America doesn't have a race problem. I mean, just shouting, people think shouting the N-word is the only form of racism.
No,
that, you know, it's like I said to Tiffany, like, it's like people, they just, when we figure out what they're doing to us as Black people, they go, okay, they know that, let's try something else. And when we find that out, okay, let's try something else. It's like they're relentless in trying to destroy us, like environmental racism. Like you see, they put us to live in certain zip codes, All right. They make sure the supermarkets and those zip codes don't get the best food. They make sure there's liquor stores, fast food restaurants.
It's on every corner, every block, where if you go into the suburbs, it's not like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the videos that you show, it was the father, they call him the father of environmental justice, Robert Bullard. Okay. He's been fighting for years for clean air, clean water. His data states that most of the landfills that were all built in Black communities.
Wow.
I almost passed out. Now we see what made me talk to you about this was the young man, Justin Pearson, when he said his grandmother died of environmental racism and with the cancer and the landfills and stuff. They put the paper mills, all of these different plants they put in these communities, especially if the communities was predominantly Black. So years later, people are coming up with cancer. And it's not like, let me tell you, it's a rabbit hole. It's not like it's just this area. It's Mississippi. Look at Mississippi with the water. They even have a documentary, and my friend, I tried to express to him, I was telling him about what was going on. He was like, Tiffany, go to Netflix. They have a show called The Descendants. They from Alabama. They talked about this whole thing, and they had land there. But they also put mills and different plants there that they were starting to get sick in the community. The Bronx right now is suffering from vehicle environmental racism because the vehicles is killing them with the asthma, the fumes, or the bus depots. So yes, it's really serious. It's really serious.
So where do we start to fight this, though? How do we fight back? Do we start with the politicians, or is it self? How do we fight this, Tiff and Carl?
How would we know, though? How would we know that they're putting these plants? How would we know?
We do know. That's why we're doing a show about it.
Most of the people do know, but they don't know that it's causing cancer and causing certain breathing till years later. They thinking it's safe, or they just putting it there and they can't do nothing about it because they can take people land, they can say eminent domain, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe they need to fight more with the politicians, talk with the politicians, try to get people in there to fight. But the people are trying to fight for the community because if you look, all the communities is trying to fight back.
Do you guys think that the census report is a gimmick?
No, I don't think it's a gimmick. I think that they want to know what's going on. They want to know what's going on. Now, are they helping us? No, that's something totally different. They want to know the data. They want to know what's happening.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, Narma Staley? What's up? What's up, Grandma?
Hey.
Narma says, welcome, everyone. Looking good to me and my friends is watching. Thank you for bringing some people to watch our show.
Thank you. Blessings. Welcome everybody.
Yes. And we have a few comments here. Someone says, I'm just passing through, and as usual, you are focused on the past. Redlining has been discussed a million times. They want to know what are the solutions. We're not discussing redlining, so it was just part of one of the videos I show, but the show is not on redlining. We know redlining exists.
No, we're talking about environmental, dealing with people's health.
Yeah. Or what they say, or the black people in certain communities, some, not all, rob stores so much that the stores go out of business.
What?
Okay. So we have a couple of people that is being very ignorant. First of all, only reason why people will probably rob is because of their environment. Okay, it's not enough jobs. It's not producing enough jobs. They're not getting paid enough. So what happens? You rob and steal to survive. Okay, it's not enough health care.
But there's more people on Wall Street robbing. How much did Madoff take?
He took a lot of money.
Made
took a
off
lot of money.
and they're what people on Wall Street taking millions and billions every day. Like, so I mean, just a few black people robbing a store in a neighborhood, and that's going to be worse.
Hey, Carl, one of my favorite shows that I watch is called American Greed. I don't know if you ever
Yeah,
seen this show,
yeah, I watch it
but
all the time.
it's white collar crime. 99% of
Okay.
99% of those shows are a white man that steal millions of dollars from people like senior citizens and things like that. So to just say that, come on our show and just say poor black people are bad because they rob a grocery store that's so ignorant and out of control.
Yeah, that sounds like a troll. So, Carl, if they doing too much, delete them. Because we trying to find out solutions to help people to see what is the next step. Because a lot of people are having breathing disorders, asthma, COPD. You understand the cancer. You have people that's fight. Even the Native Americans, they put them in these reservations, but then they come there and they dig, and then it's some type of chemicals that's coming up in the air that's killing them also. So it's like, why? People just want peace and want to live somewhere where they can be able to feel like they can be safe, not feel like they gotta die.
Yeah, I was looking for a video. Hold on, let me see if this is it.
You can kind of smell it. Yeah, the smell changed, didn't it? Right? Like, now imagine coming to school some days and it's smelling like this. And you're just trying to figure out, what is that? Like, is that sewage? Like, what is it? But no, it's these stackers. It's like the dirtiest part of the after smell of a match going out. We would go to my grandmother's houses every Sunday after church. You drive up off the exit, and there are these pillows of smoke. And as a kid, I was fascinated by it. And it wasn't until relatively recently, I would say, that I began to understand that the folks who breathe that air, right, that's us. What we get to greet us is not a welcome to Southwest Memphis sign. What we get are these toxins, these billows of smoke and chemicals that are literally killing us.
Over the years, South Memphis has seen industrial factories encroach upon its borders. Today, there are 29 toxic facilities releasing chemicals into the air.
In the South Memphis area, we do see a disproportionate amount of pneumonias, bronchitis, diabetes, autoimmune diseases, and air pollution is probably the largest environmental factor in those diseases.
When I was growing up, there was a place that was a chemical factory over there, and we lived around it. And so many of the people around that area developed breast cancer on the same street, on the same block.
A whole lot of people in this area had got sick and died. They pretend they didn't know what was wrong with them.
This is my dad, Miller T. Nicholson. He was diagnosed with lung cancer in 2010.
There is something systematically going on that is killing us. You redline black folks into a particular community where toxins are being pumped into the air. And the consequences are in the death rate, are in the cancer rates, are in the asthma rates of our community. The folks in these communities are the ones who bear the burden of environmental racism. They bear the burden of economic injustice. They bear these burdens, and they're screaming. That is a perpetuation of injustice that has happened in this place called America and Southwest Memphis for far too long.
That is very sad.
Yeah. And
very sad.
Today it's happening. It's still happening today. Like,
right. It just was a different name for it because it's been going on for a long time. You understand? You just can't get cancer overnight. A lot of these people been living in these communities, been here for years. It's just that now they're putting, remember, we have voice now. As you say, we have podcasts, you have the internet. People are talking about it so they can fight about it. Now, do you think the people should leave? I think the people in Mississippi should leave Mississippi. Okay? Sure, if I had money, I'd move everybody out of Mississippi, because black people out of Mississippi, because even their water is contaminated.
Well, look at Flint.
Yes, Michigan. Yes,
and
that's
look how
a
much.
part of it too.
And those people there, the lead in the lead in the water in Flint caused a lot of people to have heart problems, high blood pressure, kidney failure from just drinking that lead water and not knowing they were
Yes.
drinking. I think they just lifted the. Well, I read they just lifted the boil water. They had a boil water thing. You had to boil your water. They just lifted that ban like not too long ago.
I'm still boiling water. I don't care. I don't trust the system. I'm boiling out.
Facts.
But
Yeah, no doubt.
if we know this, don't black politicians also know this?
Yep.
What are they doing? Like, I mean, they gotta know.
Yes.
Yeah. They gotta know. They also know that there's no good grocery stores in hoods in certain neighborhoods too. But politicians get checks, man. Black politicians get checks. White politicians get checks, and then they just get checks. And they look the other way, Carl and Tiff. They
And
look the
then
other way.
people are so stuck that they can't move or they don't have good enough jobs to relocate. And then they've been there so long or their ancestors been there and stuff. They don't want to leave. It's like they damn if they do, they damn if they don't. It's just horrible. And it's like you can go down the list of different places that are suffering. Look at what the floods is going on. It's a lot of floods going on now. God is cleaning up. God is cleaning
So
up.
basically, there's no solution. I mean, I can't even think of a solution other than the people with power, the people who have political pulls, to say. But like Kevin said, if a nuclear plant says, "Hey, I want to put my nuclear plant in your neighborhood, and I'll give you, $25,000 or 50,000, whatever, 100 grand or whatever," as a black person, you should say no. My people live there, but obviously,
But it's the city council, it's the community, it's their communities that's saying it's okay to do it. Not the people that live in the community,
right?
the people that run the community and saying, okay, you can put your business here that has plants and it
How do
has
we fight?
fumes.
How do we fight that though? How do we?
They have to get up and they have to talk about it. They have to get up. They have to voice their opinion. They have to say something. If they don't say nothing, it's nothing going to happen. They have to write letters. And this is why I wanted us to talk about it so it can be out there so people can talk about it. Or if your family is going through it, y'all have to write to these people because it's just horrible. It's horrible.
I'll tell you something. They wanted to put a cell tower in my neighborhood. They wanted to put up a cell tower.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, the white people raised hell. They had already started the cell tower. I'll tell you, it's still the same as it was last year. They haven't put one more piece of metal to put that thing any further in the air.
Yeah, because they fought.
Yeah.
They wanted to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother. My bad.
Go ahead.
They wanted to build a gas station in my neighborhood that I live in right now. They wanted to put a Stewart's gas station about 3 blocks from my house. And everybody in this neighborhood petitioned. And there's a lot of houses in this neighborhood. Everybody petitioned against it, black and white people that live in this neighborhood. Petition against them putting that gas station there. So I think the lesson learned, or the lesson that should be learned here is that if the people speak out, you can change things. People have to speak out, If I run over a pothole in my neighborhood, I'm bitching to somebody. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
I pay too much taxes for me to run over a pothole in my neighborhood and don't say nothing to somebody. So somebody gonna hear about the pothole on my block or on my street or my neighborhood. So people have to start taking responsibility. People have time to watch Netflix and watch football, and do all these extra things or whatever, basketball wise or whatever. People have to sit down, send an email, or go the old-fashioned way, write a letter, whatever the case may be. People need to start taking things to their own hands. That's the only way
Because
to
if
get
it
things
wasn't
done.
for the people, you can't govern nothing if the people is not there. But then you also got to remember we have a racist system that they will ignore them. You understand? They will act like they're not even there, and feel like what y'all gonna do? Y'all don't got no money. Y'all can't buy it. They want
Tiff,
them
check this
out
out.
anyway.
Check this out, sister. Check this out, Tiff. we started the show off by honoring a legendary man, Harry Belafonte,
Mm-hmm.
who, if he heard you say what you just said, would probably say, "No, sister, no," because Harry Belafonte was super tight with Dr. King. They, from what I understand, and doing a lot of studying on them this week, since his passing, and listening to a lot of different people that knew them talk, he spoke with Dr. King basically every other day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and those guys got things done, and they had less resource than we have now.
Right.
It was less of them and more people against them. I mean, what they went through, we're not even going through. We're sitting on a podcast right now, voicing our opinions.
Which
You
we
know,
couldn't do years ago.
back in those days, they couldn't even do it. I mean, the reason Dr. King was able to do some of the things he did because of how the Belafonte had money. So
Mm-hmm.
he donated his money. Rita Franklin put up her
Yeah,
money.
for them to travel and go places.
Sammy Davis Jr. put up his money. So there was a lot of people back in those days that put money up. So Dr. King and Jesse Jackson and all those other people can do what they did, but they made things happen, Carl and Tiff. I mean, we're able to do what we're doing right now because of a Harry Belafonte and a Dr. King and all those guys who sacrificed
Right.
and had dogs hipped on them and water hoses hipped on them and racist police billy clubs and all the things they went through marching in the South. So we can sit down and people just have to get off their ass and do it.
They have to talk. Yeah, they have to
like
talk.
Carl said, they didn't want that cell tower in his neighborhood. That cell tower is not in his neighborhood. We could do the same thing. I drove through a bad neighborhood the other day, and I'm looking out my window. I went to this. I'm in this neighborhood. The restaurant, Jamaican restaurant I go to in the hood. And I go there get my Jamaican restaurant food.
That's where the best
And I'm
food is
looking
at in
over.
the hood.
I'm looking over, and I see all this trash on the street, just on the corner. And I'm saying, why nobody pick that up? Why is it bottles and cans and empty McDonald container? Why don't somebody that live in this neighborhood, how can you live in this hood and watch that trash every day and not pick it up? Who you waiting for to pick it up? This is where you live at. I mean, if I walk out to my mailbox and I see a freaking crumbled up soda can, even if I ain't put it there, I'm picking it up and putting it in the trash because I don't want it in front of my house. And this is in front of somebody's house. I'm like, how do you walk out your door every day, look at this trash, and just pull off in your car, and it's not important? So people have to start taking some responsibility on their environment. Yeah, we deal with the racism and stuff like that in the bigger picture, but we have to send letters, we have to send emails, we have to show up people that we vote for. Look, we don't just vote for the president. We got to vote for the senators, the local councilmen, and we got to hold them responsible.
Yes.
Those are the people, local councilmen, the one making $140,000, $150,000 a year, to do his job, and his job is to make sure, there are no potholes or cell towers or things that can ruin your health. You know what I'm saying? We need to hold these people responsible.
Yes, you're right. You're 100% right. And the people need to go out and talk and voice their opinion. And like you said, you have to put your feet down. If you don't say nothing, they're not going to say anything. They feel like, if you close mouth, they're not going to do anything. So yes, people, if this is your community, you have to fight for your community. In your schools, parents, go to them PTA meetings. You have to fight for your community. You have to fight for yourself.
I don't think the same person just said that Kevin said what they said, but what they said is they talked about our black people in certain communities rob stores so much that the stores go out of business. And he's saying that what you just said, you agree with him, but you're not saying that.
I don't. You keep giving this person energy. Who is this person?
We have to, Tiffany. We have to.
Yeah, I mean, we're having a
We
debate.
can't,
We're having a
we have
respectable
to.
debate.
We can't just have people who agree with us on the
Yeah,
show.
so I'm not saying that whoever you may be. What I'm saying is, robbing a corner store is not the reason that there's poverty. Robbing a corner store is not the reason there's a ghetto or a hood or poor people in America. There's a bigger picture to it, you know. Um, so that's all. That's what I'm saying. We can't act like, the same way when a bad police officer kills an unarmed black person, and then all the police go, "Well, we're good police. That's just a bad apple." All right, so the one guy that robs the corner store, he's a bad apple, but that don't mean the other 3,500 people that live in that neighborhood are bad apples. So they might get up every morning and go to work from 9 to 5 to provide for their family and work their ass off 40 hours a week to provide for their family. But then one bad apple robs a corner store, and everybody's bad in the whole neighborhood. I mean, is everybody Jeffrey Dahmer? All white people Jeffrey Dahmer? No. That was one bad apple, right? So we can't act like people always go and try to find something negative about African Americans and say, "Oh, that's the reason things are that way because Tyrone put on a ski mask and ran up in the store and robbed it. Now the guy got to close down." First of all, most of the owners don't even live in the neighborhood. Let's talk about that. Most of the people that own these corner stores, these liquor stores, and all these restaurants that they set up in our neighborhoods, or now I won't say our neighborhood, but in poor communities, they don't even live in those communities. They don't even give back. They lock up their doors at the end of the day and drive 35 minutes out to the suburbs somewhere to a nice house, but they don't give back to that community. They don't, that they had that corner store in. They live on those people, you know, providing alcohol. You're walking to one of those corner stores, all you see when you walk in there is paraphernalia and stuff like that and all sorts of stuff. But then they don't live in their neighborhood. They don't even have a trash can out front in some of these places. They want to put a trash can out. Don't get me started.
No, I
Talk about
mean, but you got to. That's the way a lot of people feel. Like one black person do something, and of course, that's the way we all are.
exactly. That's
So
what I just said. Yeah, a lot of people go to
yeah.
work every day. In
So
poor neighborhoods, go to work every day. They get up 9 to 5 and go to work, to bust their ass, to do the best they can for themselves. They're not running up into stores, robbing stores and stuff. But you do have one guy that might go rob a store, you know, but that's just that one guy, or maybe two guys. But that don't make up the whole neighborhood. And that's not why we have the problems we have in America.
yeah. So what? So how will we solve this? How will we make sure chemical plants are not built in black neighborhoods? How do you fight that though? How do you fight that?
Well, we gotta hold our politicians responsible. I mean, we go and vote for people. I'm a voter. I vote for people. So I go every November and pull a level for somebody. I vote. I try to do a little research to find out who these people am I voting for. So you gotta hold them responsible. I mean, you gotta hold them freaking responsible. And that's one thing, Carl. I don't have all the answers, brother, but I know one thing you can do is hold some of these politicians responsible and try. But it takes an army of people. It takes a lot of people to be pissed off about this and say
One thing that they did in my neighborhood too is they went door to door with a petition for people to sign saying, "Do you want this thing in your neighborhood?"
that. Hey, there you go.
Right.
That's
Well,
right.
we said that you have to put your feet. Look what happened with Mississippi and Jacksonville, Mississippi. They went through their water crisis. How many people put in money to be able to help them, even to build a whole water system? And now the white councilman is trying to take over that, and they don't want that. So it's like you damn if you do, you damn if you don't. You got people to help you to do what they got to do, but you still got the people on top trying to take from you when you just trying to live and survive. You know, so yes, I think that, like you said, the councilmen, they need to take more. The council people of the community need to do more for their community, and the people need to talk more. They need to say something. They need to write. They need to tell people how they feel, and don't be afraid. You understand? Because you live there, you pay rent there, or you have your house there. You have something that's there, so you want to protect it. You know, or what the next thing? What can I say? Get out? I don't know.
All
It's just,
neighborhoods have rules, though, right? All neighborhoods have rules, and the reason they have rules is because people, make these. Like my neighbor was a tractor trailer driver. He had one of those big rigs. He wasn't even allowed to park his truck, that rig, without the trailer on the back. He still wasn't allowed to park that thing on our street. You know, um, so I mean, for example, in the wintertime, we're not allowed to park our cars on the street. We had to park them in our driveway. We can't park our cars on the street. If we do, we'll get a ticket. You
right
know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying there are rules in all neighborhoods. You
in the
just have to,
communities.
in communities, yes. So I think, and it's all because people put their foot down for one reason or another to make it happen. So people had to put their foot down the same way you said, Carl. People did not want that cell tower in your neighborhood, and they had petitions. Everybody knocked on everybody's door, signed it. Same thing happened with the gas station. We had to sign it. They had the thing in our yard. I actually put a sign in my yard when they were giving out free signs to stop Stewart's gas station from opening up down the street. I put the sign in my yard right
They
next to my
put their
mailbox.
feet to the ground. They wasn't
Yep,
having it.
I
They
put it right in
spoke
my
up. They
yard,
fought.
right in my yard. Make sure that gas station, because it wasn't safe to have that gas station so close to our house. Put that sign right in my front yard. Sit there for the whole summer until
So,
they got enough.
all right. So Nicole Coates, what's up, Nicole?
Hi,
Yeah,
sister.
what's up, sis?
So, Nicole.
Hold the states responsible. Norma Staley says, we are working with the political people with my community to get things done. We march and go to all the meetings.
Good.
Has to be involved, all of us. Yes. But for some reason we don't. Donna Hagen. What's up, Donna? Do a town hall meeting and voice your opinions. Have many people sign petitions. I mean, we all know, and it sounds good, but for some reason we just don't. Though it seems like a lot of Black people feel like we have no power. Who's gonna listen to? Who's gonna listen to us? We have no political power. We have no financial power. So they
Because
get
people don't go to town halls. Because people don't go to town halls. A lot of times people don't go to town halls. People too busy. They tired. They work all day. They come home. They're tired. And you got a
Yeah,
town
same.
hall happening at 8 o'clock on Wednesday night. You're like, man, I ain't.
Yeah,
My,
that's
my show come on. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Monday
same thing with
night
getting
football is
involved.
on. Monday
You
night
got to
football
get
is on.
involved.
Yeah, you
You
gotta
know,
get
you got
involved.
to get involved. The same thing with the PTA. You know, with y'all dealing with your children, you know, you have to go in. You have to talk. You know, you can't have just 5 people at the PTA meeting when it's 500 students in there. That means you can make things happen when all the parents got all their heads together. But then you also got to remember too, you got a lot of people that don't have proper management skills. People don't know how to solve problems, you know, and you have all these confusion. They scared. They don't know how to do this, where to start, how to do it, you know. So please ask somebody. We have internet now, Google, you know, find out how do we start something, or how do we try to, you know, make a mark, or try to get these plants out of our community, you know, or stop with the water. Can we need fresh water initiative?
Hey,
You
Tiff,
know,
you said something. Tiff said something that was really just blew my mind just now.
What?
We have internet. Can you imagine if Dr. King and Harry Belafonte and all those people in that era, if they had internet and they were organizing thousands of people to come out and
just
protest and
regularly.
march just from word of mouth.
Yes.
Dr. King can you imagine if Dr. King had the internet?
Yes.
He just
Right.
had word of mouth and people just reaching out to other people through church groups and stuff like that
Yeah.
to get people to come out. And they got thousands of people. What he had, how many people show up on the National Mall for his speech? Thousands.
Yes.
All from
Look at
word
the
of
bus
mouth.
boycott. The bus boycott, they did not ride on the bus for what, a year or so or something like that. They walked, they helped each other.
Yeah.
Everybody rode with each other just to show we spends money. So that means you got to open up them buses. We sitting in the front, the back, the side, and the top.
Oh, by the way, Dr. King did regret that, by the way. You know
For
what
real.
happened?
So the responsibility is on us.
Yes, it's on us. Yeah.
We have to fight. We have to fight. We do, in a positive way, not in, I'm not telling nobody to go out there and hurt nobody. We talking about fight with your hands, with writing, with your verbal. You understand? You have a voice. In many countries, they don't have voices. And now that we have platforms, we hope that people, like and share this, and other people that's talking about it, because we're not the only platform that's talking about it. It's platforms that are talking about it, and we need to be more aware of what's going on in our community.
All right. So bottom line is, Black people need to pay attention to what's going on in their neighborhood, and we need to do something about it if we don't like it. We can't just sit back and just take whatever, do whatever you want, ask questions. Why is that tower going up? What's coming out of that plant? What's that stuff billowing out of those tacks? What is that?
But you know what, Carl? It's not really, is it just Black neighborhoods now? Because like every neighborhood now has Spanish people or Latin people living in it, right? Next door. And every neighborhood has, I mean, I'm just saying, where can you go now? What neighborhood do you go to and there's not?
They target us, though. They target us.
Right. I mean, they target poor people. I mean, I don't say, well, they target everybody, but mainly, I'm just saying, in every neighborhood now, your neighbor might be Hispanic or your neighbor might be a white guy down the street.
Right.
And they're just all Black neighborhoods anymore, like where it's just nothing but Black people.
It's a mixture, but they're saying what we was focusing on, environmental racism. They said it deals more with people of color, which is Black, Black, Spanish, and even the Native Americans. They're going through it too. You understand? They put them somewhere, find out that the land got oil or they got some type of minerals, and they come dig it up and then leave it and leave all these all type of chemicals there, and it winds up killing them or getting them sick and stuff. So yeah, it's serious. It's serious.
No,
so
my point I was trying to make was, and you're right, Tiff. My point I was trying to make was, it's just not a Black person problem. It's a people of color problem. So I think Hispanic people need to get on board too, right? They need to get on board.
Everybody, people of color.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, everybody, people of color need to get on board, not just Black people. Everybody of color need to get on board. But that's a whole nother show because we're divided,
Right. No, but it's affecting periodly dealing with health. We're talking about health, like cancer, the asthma. You understand? Because look what's going on, like I said, in the Bronx. They're dealing with the vehicles, the vehicles. I didn't know it was that much. I knew something was going on in the Bronx, but I just didn't figure it out until this young lady and her parent mother was talking about how she has very bad asthma, and is more of asthma there in the Bronx. They said the air is smoky. You can see it. They have bus depots and stuff. So yeah, what else they can do? They have to fight and talk about it, or you're gonna have to move out, get away.
Yeah.
All right. So the responsibility really lies on the people that live in the neighborhood, and if the people in the neighborhood are Black, and we see something we don't like, we need to ask questions because they are targeting us. They're target. We know they run highways through.
Displace us. Yes.
Because the pollution, they come from cars. For some reason that we can handle the pollution.
Train tracks too.
Yeah. So we are targeted. So we just need to pay more attention to what's being done to us, and we need to do something about it. We need to act on it.
Black people's neighborhoods were always built around train tracks.
Right.
Yeah,
or they
always.
put the train track or put a highway in between them. And if y'all Black people are buying property, make sure y'all check y'all communities out. Okay, it's so because this lady, I was thinking about, looking at different prices of property in Augusta. She's always sending me property that's around a plant.
Wow.
Why? You understand what I'm saying? Like, why you keep sending me around plants? Nobody wants to be around no plant, especially we don't know what's in those plants or what they building or what's the smells or is the ground or the grass is good? Is the ground good? No.
You know
So
why?
yeah,
It's probably
look
the
those
price of
things you
living.
think about when you buy property. You know, please check out the community, make sure your grounds is good because they'll get you too on that.
Will do.
Yeah. All right. Before we wrap up, of course, I have one surprise video that I need your reaction.
Here we go. You and your surprise videos, Carl.
I need a reaction from Tiffany and Kevin. You guys know a guy named Mark Robinson. He's a Republican, and I'll let you hear what he says. The talk was about reparations, and he thinks somebody else needs to pay reparations.
Wow.
Talking about reparations in this country. They wanted reparations. And I remember I made this particular liberal so angry at me because I told them right to their face, nobody owes you anything for slavery. If you want to tell the truth about it, it is you who owes. It's you who owes. Why do you owe? Because somebody in those fields took stripes for you. Somebody, after those fields were ended and slavery was ended, somebody had to walk through Jim Crow for you. Somebody fought wars and died for you. Somebody lived less than because they didn't have what you have, and they did it for you. There are people in their graves right now, and they are there because they were willing to stand up and fight for you. Those folks on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, carrying American flags, take that, Colin Kaepernick, living in a society that he could scarcely acknowledge, something that he has never known, living with a bigotry that none of us can imagine. Carried American flags on that bridge, and when they were hit upside the head with nightsticks and shot with water hoses and knocked to the ground, they got up and picked those flags up and kept marching. And they did it for you. Nobody owes you anything. If anybody owes, it's you.
Carl.
Yeah.
I swear to God, don't make me punch this freaking. I swear, I just a new tablet. It's a new tablet I got here, Carl. I almost broke it, dude. I'm glad you cut that off. Here's the problem. Can I speak first? Can I speak first?
Where's he from? Who is
I gotta get this out of my. Let me speak first.
Kev wants to go ahead, Kev.
I gotta get this off my. First of all, oh my God, Carl, we need to do a whole show on this fool. But let me say this real quickly. I guarantee you, he's speaking to an all-white audience.
He was at the Republican.
Okay, like I said, an all-white audience. Okay.
Because a black person would have thrown a bottle at his ass.
99% of people, I would say 99.99% of people in that audience, besides his relatives, he's probably got a white wife. Let's do some research. Okay, so anyway, so let me just say this. He's speaking to an all-white audience.
Yeah.
John Lewis was the leader who went across the Pettus Bridge and was almost murdered by a racist white cop with a billy club, right? He had his skull cracked. And so the people that went across the Pettus Bridge fought. So he can stand up there in front of a group of white people and say that what he just said is just that's probably the most disgusting thing I think I've heard in 58 years I've been on this planet. I've heard a lot of shit, man. Carl, I am so pissed right now that we got to do a whole show on this dude next week.
Where did you find this raccoon at?
Oh my God, I can't get my thoughts out. I can't get my thoughts out.
He switched up everything.
Mark Robinson, look it up. He's running. I think he's running to be Republicans for a senator spot in one of those Republican.
What state? Because I feel sorry for his state.
Oh, he'll get votes because white people love to hear black people when they talk like that. That's why Candace Owens is making $1 million a year, making speeches around at universities and all these places in front of white people who pay to see her say things that make them feel comfortable. I hate to say it because our show don't deal with being racist, but white people love to feel comfortable about racism. And one of the biggest things they have going for them in this day and age is black people like Tim Scott and Mark Robinson and Diamond and Silk and all those fools that get on national television and say the things that they say. It makes this group of people feel comfortable about their skin, who they, their ancestors and all the bad. It just makes them feel comfortable. So that group of white people he's in front of, they feel comfortable right now, and they'll
Yeah.
vote for him, because
Yeah, he's a
he makes them
comfortable.
feel good.
Yeah,
He
he's
makes
a
them
comfortable
comfortable.
black man. They feel comfortable around him. Well, I don't feel comfortable around him. He sounds silly, and I don't like how he mixed up that whole thing, mixed up our whole structure, everything. Well, everything we went through, you mixed it all up and blamed everything on us.
Do you think he would tell a Jewish audience they don't deserve reparations? They owe?
No, he's not going to do that because he wasn't programmed to do that. He was programmed to try to shit on us. That's what he did. He played himself.
But no Jewish man would stand up in front of all
And do
Jewish
that to
crowd
his
and
own
make that
people.
speech.
Better point. And
You
tell
know,
Jews that they owe.
that was really beyond disgusting to hear this dude say this, man.
He's a Herschel Walker, a McCain. He's a couple of them. It's a tribe of them dumbasses.
Yeah, and it hurts. It hurts because there are a lot of them. There are a lot of them who are out there. The minister that you saw, you don't even see him anymore, but he was the black minister who was uh, talking trash about George Floyd standing next to Donald Trump, and these guys are being used, just being
For the
used. And
right amount of money.
exactly. And this guy, Tim Scott, and all these guys, man, they're making money, but they're selling their souls, and that's okay. They want to live in a nice house in an upscale gated community and drive the best cars money can buy, and they sell out their people. This dude is just trying to get power, and he got an audience that will listen to that BS, and he'll get invited on Fox News, and and all that sort of stuff, and
Like every couple of years, they come up with another raccoon.
Yep, every year there's a new one. You're right, Tiff.
Yeah,
Every
so
year.
he just come up. Here's a new one. Pop up. Here's a new one.
Because there's a bunch of them out there. Like I've said this many times. I've said this many times on this show. If we tomorrow decided to be Republicans and talk about
black people.
and talk about how stupid black people are and all that sort of stuff, we'll have like 20,000 people following us by 2 weeks from now. We'll have 30,000 followers of people watching our shows, telling us how great we are. We'll be invited on Fox News, and all sorts of stuff,
Oh, Fox just got sued, so they got to pay out money, and they fired their top reporter.
Yes, they did, because he costing them money with his lies and racism. And money talks, They'll find somebody else to be racist without Tucker Carlson. He'll get a podcast and he'll get all his millions of people that still want to listen to him. Rush Limbaugh had millions of people on radio. So this guy ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, he's not going nowhere. Don Lemon they allegedly offered him BET offered him $50 million to do to sign on with them.
Now Don Lemon, did you guys see the interview he had with the Republican? Did y'all see that interview?
The female one?
No,
the Indian guy with the
Indian guy. Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
They're saying that's why Don Lemon was fired. That was the last straw that got him fired because of that. Dale Hughley did a whole thing on it, but he's saying that's why Don Lemon was let go because of that interview where he was challenging that guy, that Republican. I don't know if he's a senator or what he is, but he's running for president, I believe. But whatever he is, Don Lemon challenged him on air on the morning show, and they're saying that was the last straw that got Don Lemon fired.
When they put Don Lemon on the morning show, his ass was on his way out.
I agree with you 100%. Oh, that was just in him, and they got rid of him and Chris Como, and I'll tell you why. Because those were Chris Como and Don Lemon were the former president's biggest critics, and they had to get rid of him because this new guy is an undercover Trump supporter, and Trump's going to run again. So he's cleaning house. He's
I
cleaning
wouldn't be
house.
surprised.
He's cleaning the house of all Trump haters, so he can.
You said
You know,
all Trump haters.
yeah,
All Trump haters must leave
he's
the
cleaning
building.
the house. Well, Don Lemon and Chris Como are off the air for a reason. Trust me, it's not by mistake. Yeah, but that interview, Don Lemon challenged that dude saying some stupid ass shit. Excuse my language. But yeah, he was saying some stupid ass shit on our show. I apologize for the language. And Don Lemon called him out on it.
Yeah, I got it here, Kev. Hold on.
Okay, good.
I find your explanation reductive and actually insulting, including to black Americans, to say that black people today, compared to 1964, 1865, haven't made progress in part because of the freedoms we secured. And the Second Amendment was
Black
part of
people,
what secured
hang on,
that
please.
freedom.
I cannot keep a thought if you guys are talking to me in my ear. So hang on one second. So to say that black people, say what you said again.
Black people secured their freedoms after the Civil War. It is a historical fact, Don. Just study it. Only after their Second Amendment rights were secured.
They
That's
were
a
not
fact.
secured their freedoms after the Civil War. That is not, you are discounting Reconstruction. You're discounting a whole host of things that happened after the Civil War when it comes to African Americans, including the whole reason that the Civil Rights Movement happened is because black people did not secure their freedoms after the Civil War, and that things turned around. People tried to change the freedoms that were supposed to
And you know
happen
how they
after the
got
Civil
it?
War
They got their
and
Second Amendment
Reconstruction.
rights, and they actually got the NRA played a big role in that. But today, Don, the
NRA did not play a big role
absolutely,
in
they
that.
trained black
That
Americans
is
how
a
to use
lie.
firearms.
That's a lie. That's not. The NRA did not play a big role in
This is just historical fact.
It's
But Don,
not historical fact.
the part that I
Just
find
because you say it's historical
the
fact,
part that
it's
I
not
find
historical
insulting is when you say today black Americans don't have those rights after we have
The
gone
fact
through
that I find
civil rights
insulting
revolution
is
in this
that
country.
You are sitting here telling an African American about the rights and what you find insulting about the way I live, the skin I live in every day.
Here's where you and I
know
have
the
a different
freedoms
point
that
of view.
black and white that black people don't have in this country, and that black people do have.
Well, here's where you and I have a different point of view. I think we should be able to express our views regardless of the color of our skin. We should have this debate
I'm not saying you
without
shouldn't
me
express your
regarding you
views,
as a
but I
black
think it's
man,
insulting that
but
you're
me
sitting
regarding you
here,
as a fellow citizen.
that you're
That's what I
sitting
think we should
here,
see.
whatever ethnicity you are, explaining to me
Whatever ethnicity
about
I'm, I'll
what
tell
it's
you.
like to be black.
Whatever
in America.
ethnicity I am,
I'm
I'll tell
sorry.
you what I am. I'm an Indian American. I'm proud of it. But I think we should have this debate. Black, white doesn't matter.
I think we should have this
on
debate.
the
but I think
content
you should,
of the
if you're
ideas.
gonna do it, you should do it in an honest way and in a
I
fair
think-
way. And what you're doing is not an honest and fair way. Okay?
With-
But we
with-
appreciate you coming on.
With
Thank
due
you for
respect,
that.
Don, I look forward to
Thank you very
continuing
much.
that
I appreciate
conversation.
it. We'll
Thank
continue
you.
the conversation.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you, Bob.
All right. Now,
Yep.
I agree with Don when he said, I don't like when somebody from another culture
Yeah.
tells me how to feel as a black person sitting in this skin because you wouldn't change with me anyway. And you just as brown as me too, but you don't go through what I go through. And
Fact.
don't-
Amen.
Is he Indian?
Yes.
He's Indian.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute. Don't they bathe, wash themselves, and bury their dead in the same water in Calcutta? That's why I said my thing is don't voice your opinion on us unless you have facts. And he didn't have no facts. I don't like that. And yes, I understand why they got rid of Don Lemon because they was doing that in the daytime. You know you can't talk about race and all of that stuff. That's too early in the morning for white people.
But you know what? Black people, but, and I consider that guy. I'm gonna call him a white guy. That's what I'm gonna call him.
Yeah,
white
he
people,
thinks
They
he's
probably
white.
white
consider
people
themselves
think,
white.
white people think that they can tell black people about black people. I had the same argument on Facebook all the time with people. I used to argue on Facebook. I don't argue on Facebook anymore, but I used to
You're
battle
not
people.
supposed to.
I used to battle these racist people on Facebook all the time back when Trump was in office. A lot of these guys were my colleagues, comedians who are Trump supporters, and we used to go back and forth at each other all the time. I got tired of it. I deleted most of those guys as my friends, but we went back and forth all the time at this, and they try to tell you about being black. And like, you're white. You have no idea. How you gonna
Yeah,
tell?
I don't like that. Don't tell
That's
me
why
about my
Don was so
blackness.
upset that some guy who's not even black will sit there and tell him about the history of African Americans. It's insulting to Don Lemon to stand on national television and tell Don Lemon about being black. That's that boldness. Like Carl said, you wouldn't tell a Jewish person. You wouldn't stand on CNN and tell a Jewish Wolf Blitzer is Jewish, by the way. CNN, you wouldn't stand there and tell Wolf Blitzer about the Holocaust. You wouldn't
They
debate him
wouldn't
about the
allow you
Holocaust.
to. They wouldn't allow you to. They'll fire you before you even think about saying it.
That was ridiculous, and
Yeah.
that's just so ridiculous.
It was
And
time for Don Lemon to go. He was
yeah,
doing too much anyway. And I don't understand why, a lot of our black people think that if they marry somebody white or it's going to give them a pass and it's going to let them stay. No, it's time to go. He was there for 17 years. And then for him to say they didn't even call me and they said they offered you a meeting and you didn't call. Listen, you knew it was time was up, and he's a brand anyway. He's his own person, and I hope he got his black man wake up call, LGBT style.
Yeah. Well, we still got to support our black people. And
when you're at CNN, even though CNN kind of pretends, and MSNBC, they also they pretend that they're on our side, but they're not really.
No.
Look who they got rid of. They got rid of that sister. They got rid of like 3 or 4 black women.
Yeah.
Because they started to speak the truth.
Yep. Got rid of them. Yep.
Yeah. And
yeah.
And you got to remember.
Yeah, as long as you stay within their boundaries and you do what they say, you can.
Yeah.
But when you start to speak your own mind, then you can't.
Isn't that corporate world? Isn't that considered the corporate world?
Well, that's why Roland Martin got his own thing, because he ain't got to, he ain't got to listen. He ain't got to be fired. By the way, Roland Martin used to be on CNN and he was fired.
Yeah. He was too black, too strong.
Yeah, he was fired. And Lamont Hill was fired. Lamont Hill was fired from CNN. Anybody know who he is?
Yeah, I know who Lamont is.
Another brother who speaks the truth a lot. But he was fired from CNN too. So I mean, they're getting rid of Laura Coates. They limit her time on there. Right. She was speaking the truth, So yeah, and they gave Katie Collins the evening. They're supposed to give it to Laura Coates. She was next in line for that spot, but they gave it to the white girl instead of Laura Coates. So we see what's happening at CNN right now, and it's a sad thing.
Urban removal.
Yeah, and it's all by design, because this election coming up, 2024, it's one of the most important elections of our lifetime, and they're just putting it together right now. I got to hand it to the Republicans. They're smart.
they're rabid for the party. We are not. For some reason, we don't have that extra. You know what I mean? Like how rabid the Republicans are for Trump. I mean, we like our candidates, but we're not as, we don't seem to have that extra.
That killer instinct thing, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. We want to thank everyone again for joining us for another Sunday. Tiffany, thank you so much for this topic.
Thank you, Tiff. That was very powerful.
A whole new world, and I appreciate it. I'm sure everyone watching appreciated it. Norma Staley said something that I wanted to read. She said, what myself and my family had to go through when Jim Crow was going on was hard.
Yeah.
That hurt me when he said what he said. She's talking about that was sad. She said it was sad. Yeah. The guy that said that we're not owed nothing for slavery, that black people owe, the black people here now we owe. He like Kevin said, he was just catering to his white audience. He was at a fact.
It hurts people's heart when they hear that. When black people hear that, it hurts, man. Because what my grandmother and my grandfather and their parents went through in this country, and just to think that some guy like that now would stand on stage and talk that nonsense.
Say that, it's like a pimp slap across the daggone face.
Japanese got reparations, Jews got reparations, right? I think the American Indians got reparations. So what is wrong with black people getting reparations? But we all know why.
And it's all documented what they did to us. So it's not like we are lying or, So, I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Tiffany, anything you learned or any knowledge you want to drop before we go?
Well, again, we are the people have to speak, the people have to stand up. If you feel that you can't handle it, move on. But if this is what you need to do, stand for your community. Also, I want people to check out on Netflix. It's called The Descendants. It talks about the last slave ship that was found, that was in Alabama. And it talks about this, and it would definitely open up your eyes to so many things that's going on in different Black communities. We must talk, we must read, we must get education, so nobody can pull no wool over our heads. So definitely stand for your community, speak to your local councilman. If you feel like something is wrong, you want to talk about it, please voice your opinion, and we love you. Please like, subscribe, and share.
The Descendants?
Yes, it's called The Descendants. It's on Netflix. It talks about the last boat called the Cotillia. And they actually found it and found pieces of it, of this boat that this man, this slave master, he wound up still bringing slaves over after he didn't supposed to. So they burnt the boat, whatever, and they was able to find it after all of these years. So it proved that what the people was saying orally was the truth, because the whites was trying to cover it up like they don't know what they talking about or anything like that. But it's called The Descendants. It's on Netflix. My friend Marlon told me about it, and he was like, this environmental racism has been going on for a long time. They just put a name on it, so now we understand.
All right, Kevin, any knowledge you want to drop? Anything you learned that you want to share?
Yes. The passing of Harry Belafonte. That's deep, man, because I think that closes a chapter. He was the last, I think, of that group. I mean, we still have Jesse Jackson. I mean, he's not active anymore. He's very probably into his 80s now.
Yeah,
But
he's in a
I think
wheelchair.
yeah, we still have Jesse Jackson. Is still alive, but Harry Belafonte is the last. Next to Jesse Jackson is the last of that
The Mohican,
Dr.
yeah.
King era, that the golden era of civil rights movement, and it's sad, that he was an amazing man. He was an amazing man, and he got his flowers when he was alive. He got his flowers while he was
Ninety-six.
yeah,
96. That's a
yeah. He
great
lived a
age.
long life, and he's seen a lot. He's seen a lot. He's been through a lot. He's sacrificed a lot, and like Tiffany said earlier, he gave up a lot of great movie roles. Not great movie. He gave a lot of movie roles for Sidney Poitier, who became a bigger movie star. But he gave up those roles because he didn't think they were right for our people. So he made that sacrifice for his people. So he was like the Muhammad Ali of acting in a sense, Carl.
Yes.
And Tiff. So he's an amazing human being, and God bless him, man. I'm just proud to. He makes me proud, just to be a part of his
Yes. His
his
era.
thing, man.
Yes.
His era. He's an amazing man, and he's gone. And it's just sad to see that chapter starting to close, because like Jesse Jackson was the last one standing, and we're probably gonna lose him soon. I mean, he's not in good health. He's an old man, and we all got to go sooner or later. But yeah, it's a closing of that chapter of
Yeah,
those
he's an
great men,
ancestor now.
from the past, man. Yes.
Yes, we salute them.
All
So
right.
yes, God bless Harry Belafonte, and thank you, Mr. Belafonte, for all you did for us.
Thank you.
All right. So I want to thank everyone for checking us out on another Sunday. Thank you for spending your hour with us. We truly,
Thank
truly
you.
appreciate it. We don't say that lightly. And we love all of you for spending your time with us. And I like to say that I want Black people to pay attention to what's going on in your neighborhood. We tend not to do that. And I see it a lot in my neighborhood. I talked about the cell tower that was going up and the people raise hell. And it's always mostly white people that seem to raise hell about when they see something going wrong in a neighborhood. Black people, we seem to just take it all in stride and assume that the people that are doing it have good intentions. But most of the time,
They
they
don't.
don't. So we really need to pay attention, and we really need to come together. And white people have these neighborhood meetings where they come together and talk about what's going on in the neighborhood. They have block watches. They have, and I don't see us getting together and do stuff like that. I'm not sure why that is. I know someone explained to me it's that slave mentality that has divided us centuries ago, and it still seems to continue to today. But I hope we can break that. You know, I used to not believe in that, but I have since evolved and learned that it is, you know, trauma can even be handed down to kids that were born after Black people dealt with trauma.
Mm.
You know, and it is a thing, and it might seem like a far stretch, but it's not. With that said, love you guys. Thank you for checking us out. Please like, share, subscribe. And if you have any topics you want us to discuss, put it in the comments or send it to our what's our email, Tiffany?
The Black Therapy Show at gmail.com.
Send your comments or your topics to the Black Therapy Show at gmail.com. We love you. We love you. We love you. Tell the people you love that you love them because they're not psychic.
Amen.
Amen.
That was not the song.
I was about to say, what is going on? You got a new hit?
Carl got new music.
You got a new hit, a remix, a Carl remix.
There's the song.
There we go. There we go.
There you go.
We're gonna do a video. We're gonna do a video for that song.
Break away from the chains. We helping you grow. The Black Therapy Show. You be in a safe space dealing with the black trauma. We unpacking and inspecting all our baggage and drama. Cause we gotta unite. No more killing each other. It's time to see a new future for my sisters and brothers. You know it, Kevin, Carl, and Tiffany. You'll have an epiphany. We'll give you everything you need to handle the enemy. We be giving you empathy. We gon' challenge you mentally. The right conversation so you grow exponentially. We built your penitentiaries. We built all your schools. Gave us brainwashed education, just making us fools. Hatred was what we got in exchange for love. No more manipulation from my God above. No, it's Carl, Kevin, and Tiffany. Now welcome to the Black Therapy Show.